Hello, everyone, and welcome to Clarksville's Political Forum. I'm Van Stokes, your moderator for today's session. And on behalf of Leadership Clarksville and your Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce, we're glad you could be with us today. This forum is coming to you from the facilities of the Mass Communications Department here on the campus of Austin Peay State University. And it's intended for you, the viewers at home, the voters, to have an informed choice when you go to the polls to vote. Today, we will have the opportunity to meet and greet and hear from the candidates who will be on the ballot for County Commission District Number 10. They are, to my left, Mr. Bob Huffman and Mr. David Harper. Now, in a moment, both Mr. Huffman and Mr. Harper will each have 2 minutes in which to provide opening comments. Following their opening remarks, we will turn to our panelists for questions. Joining us once again are our distinguished panelists for the day, Mr. Jimmy Settle, Mr. Lee Irwin, and Mr. Jay Albertia. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to respond to each question from our panelists in a rotating order. Now, at the conclusion of the questioning, each candidate will have 2 minutes in which to provide closing remarks. The closing statements will be given in the reverse order from the opening statements. Our timekeeper for this session is Ms. Yvonne Pickering. County commissioners are voted into office for their 4-year terms by voters from their districts. The county commission meets twice monthly to discuss and vote on a variety of resolutions. That includes county government policy, county budget, the school system budget, and property tax rates, as well as many more issues. County commissioners will also serve on various committees which are devoted to specific departments or specific subject areas. They range from the county jail to animal control to many more areas as well. Let's go now, if we can, to our candidates for opening comments. First, we will hear from Mr. Bob Huffman.
Thank you very much, Van. I'd like to thank our organizers, Leadership Clarksville, the Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this event. As Van introduced me, I am Bob Huffman. I'm seeking your votes for District 15 in the County Commission. When the voters of Montgomery County elect me to the District 15, I'll bring 30 years of managerial experience to our County Commission. With your vote, you'll get a County Commissioner that brings a master's degree in management with a core curriculum that's very identical to an MBA that includes heavy concentrations in accounting, finance, statistics, and strategic planning. I've led major programs impacting thousands of people, and I feel comfortable working through complex issues, dealing with budgets that balance to the penny, and strategically setting the conditions for success. I first arrived in Montgomery County in 1978, and I've returned over the following 30 years every opportunity I had to return to Fort Campbell. I believe we have some of the finest citizens in the United States of America right here inside of Montgomery County. While not a resident of Montgomery County by birth, Donna and I, my wife of 30 years, are residents. We could live anywhere in America, and we chose to live here in Montgomery County to put down roots within our community. After leaving active duty in 2007, I continued to work in national security arenas. I have completed both Leadership Clarksville, and I'm completing the Leadership Clarksville Montgomery County school system. Some of my civic responsibilities include being the installation report writer for the Chief of Staff Army's Retiree Council. I serve inside my Rotary District as the Leader Development Chair for our Youth Services Program. I'm the President-elect of my Rotary Club, the immediate past President of the Association of the United States Army, and I'm a 2000 inductee to the Hall of Fame for my cohort. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huffman. Next, we'll hear opening comments from Mr. David Harper.
Thank you, Van. Appreciate it. Thanks for Leadership Clarksville for this forum. It's always good to be out in the public. Let me start with some of my beliefs, my core beliefs. I believe I bring a unique perspective with my experience and background that's going to be helpful to the voters in District 15. I've had the experience of working in the financial services field for the last 22 years. I've been an employee of a company as well as a small business owner. so I understand both sides of that equation as well as a lot of other things. I've had managerial experience in the scope of my employment, has had those for the last 22 years. I, on a daily basis, have the experience of working with many families in the area to help them prepare for retirement, funding college, and working through how to pass their estate on to their heirs in the scope of my employment. In addition to being a product of the public school system in Tennessee, I believe in the of our educational system we have here in Montgomery County. One of my focuses will be to work diligently to make certain that we get maximum results for the dollars that are spent for education. Let me give you a little bit of perspective on my background. I have a wife of 13 years, Michelle, whose father served diligently in the Army and retired from the Army several years ago. I also have a 10-year-old daughter, Gracie, who is at Sango Elementary. I'm very proud of her. She's a member of News Crew, as well as in the Honor Choir. Couldn't be more proud of both of them. My background is I have a Bachelor of Science from Middle Tennessee State University and Math and Finance. I've got an Executive Certificate in Financial Planning from Belmont University. I'm an accredited asset management specialist from the College of Financial Planning. Current activities that I'm in.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Mr. Harper, appreciate the opening comments from each of you two gentlemen. Let's shift now, if we can, and go to our panelists for questions. We're going to begin with Mr. Jimmy Settle, and Mr. Settle, your question is going to go to Mr. Bob Huffman.
Thank you. Mr. Huffman, if you will, please pinpoint those personal qualities that you feel uniquely qualify you for the political arena in Montgomery County, and specifically in the County Commission.
That's a great question. Thank you very much, Jimmy. I'm a strong believer in servant leadership. When you look at the role of a servant leader, it's to improve the lives of others and the organization in which they serve. If you compare and contrast what Maxwell says on leadership with Greenleaf, I think I fit perfectly as an ideal candidate as a servant leader. I've always improved the lives of the people I work with and the organizations in which I've served. I've served in positions of increasing responsibility throughout my life, and the people that I've touched have been improved, and I've improved and benefited from dealing with those people.
Thank you. Mr. Harper, you have the response to the same question now.
Can I get Jimmy to repeat it, please?
Sure can.
Basically, if you could please just pinpoint those personal qualities that you feel uniquely qualify you to enter the political realm here in Montgomery County.
Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate that. Basically, I would say one of the things I've found in counseling with various families in the area is on a personal quality. They ask me, what is the most important quality that one might have to succeed in life? And that quality is interpersonal skills. Are we able to work together as a team and get things done? I think I've exhibited that in a number of the organizations that I've been in. As a matter of fact, I was chairman of the board of the Community Action Agency and was able to steer them through some very difficult times in 2010, 2011. I think those qualities that I possess enable me to help clients, but also would enable me to help the constituents of District 15 as we work towards our common goals.
Thank you. Let's go to Lee Irwin for our next question, and that question will go to Mr. Harper for the first response and then Mr. Huffman for the second response.
Thank you. Mr. Harper, tell me, what are just a couple of the top issues facing Montgomery County, and how would you propose dealing with those issues?
That's a great question, Lee. Let me actually pin that down a little bit further. District 15 right now, presently, we're in the middle of a road project, and that's on 41A, Madison Street. That's widening that from 2 lanes, basically, for the most portion of it, to 5 lanes. Frankly, that's been needed for quite some time. Frankly, that one of the things that we suffer from in Montgomery County is an infrastructure that is struggling to meet up with the demands of our growth. One of the things I'd like to do is make sure that we have reasonable growth, one that we can support with an infrastructure that grows to meet it at the time. One of the things that I think we have suffered from in the past is reactive rather than proactive decisions. I think being proactive, we can actually ascertain what the situation is prior to the situation being upon us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huffman.
Great question, Lee. Thank you so much. Educational opportunities are first. We have to maintain and enhance our educational opportunities so our citizens can compete in a global flattened world economy. Today, our citizens compete not against neighboring counties, but against other global economies. If you don't believe that that's actually happening, what happens in China impacts Montgomery County today. Look at what happened with Hemlock Semiconductor. The Clarksville-Montgomery County school system and Austin Peay impact our abilities to attract and maintain top-tier industries. Public safety. Our Montgomery County Commission impacts the quality of our Sheriff's Department and the volunteer fire service. Infrastructure, not only with roads, but getting high internet and 1 gig service into our community so we can attract those high-tech fields that bring high-paying jobs along with them. If we get public education, public safety, and infrastructure right, economic growth will ensue.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Mr. J. Albertia for the next question. It's going to go to Mr. Huffman.
Mr. Huffman, we've just now talked about the major concerns or issues for our community. What specific for your district do you see as a major concern, and how would you go about addressing that issue?
The major concern facing District 15 of Montgomery County is growth. We've been habitually an agricultural rural area, and growth is ensuing across. We need to make sure that the growth in District 15 is well planned, it's strategically planned. Our subdivisions actually go someplace and we don't balkanize a community that's pre-existing and has been in place for many years. What we've done right now is we establish subdivisions that go nowheres. There's one way in, there's one way out. Along with that growth, we have to ensure that we get our public safety correct and we properly fund our volunteer fire department in case if a calamity were to occur so we can properly serve our citizens of the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harper.
Thanks for the question, Jay. I think one of the things that we're seeing today in our community, obviously infrastructure is something I spoke of earlier. It is a problem in the area, something that needs to be improved. But I also think we have an identity problem in Clarksville, Montgomery County. We don't realize what a great community we live in. As a matter of fact, no place rather would I live with my wife and daughter, and no place would I rather grow up a child than in Montgomery County. A lot of times we're seeing articles in the paper that tell us things that are somewhat negative in nature about our community, but I think we're blessed. We obviously have a lot of capacity to solve the issues that we have in front of us, but we need to realize that we have a great community with a partnership between the military and actually small businesses in town, and I'm very happy to live here, and I would be very happy to serve in District 15.
Thank you very much. Jimmy Settle, let's come back to you now. Your question will go to Mr. Harper.
Thank you. Mr. Harper, matching funding to where it's most needed is always an issue at all levels of government. In your opinion, are the county departments of Montgomery County adequately funded? And if not, what are the needs that are not being addressed from your observation?
That's a great question, Jimmy. As far as funding on different county departments, I would really like to look at that more in depth before I can give you a more complete answer. I would love to answer that today and give you the answer, but I don't think that would be prudent of me to do so. And therefore, Until I look at the dollars more closely, I don't think I would have an answer on that.
Mr. Huffman?
Currently today, with a tax fund of 3.14 cents to the $100, our fund under the general fund at 93 cents. Our general road fund is 12 cents. School fund is 96 cents on the dollar. Debt service, we've done very well with our debt servicing. We have a AA plus rating for our bonds with $1 and 2.6 cents going to debt servicing. I think the way we've postured our debt service on the county commission serves our county very well, so we can resource our public school system, our infrastructure, and public safety. I believe that we're doing a good job there. Now, do I need to get into the numbers deeper and study it further? Of course I do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Lee Irwin, you have the next question. It's going to go to Mr. Bob Huffman.
Mr. Huffman, there's been a lot of talk about and a lot of talk about education. So what would you offer as a way to keep up with the continuing growth of the Clarksville-Montgomery County school system?
That's a great question. The county commission's just approved an $18 million expansion of an elementary school system. What we've studied in leadership Clarksville-Montgomery County is how the decisions are made for finding and posturing our elementary schools. It has to do with being properly allocated on transportation networks where we can get our parents in and out. One way we can address the growth, each of these new schools that have been built, Rossview, Pisgah, Carmel, and the new school that's being constructed right now, is there's this ability to expand with additional classrooms and additional restrooms that will account another 200 students per school. I say we need to complete those building plans and begin exercising that plan now rather than building new schools, perhaps. Thank you very much.
Mr. Harper.
Thank you. On the question of growth, on the question of education, those are really good questions. One of the issues that Mr. Huffman spoke of, the meeting at the county commission that I attended, and I saw the discussion with the present county commissioners and the vote on Oakland Elementary, which I think was well needed. It seems like in our school system, I grew up in Nashville, Davidson County, and I was never rezoned my entire 12 years of school. But it seems like we have affected a lot with constant rezoning, and I think that obviously would be an issue that we need to address at some point. And we do need those new schools, but we do need schools that we're able to modify or expand over time rather than a design that is limited or in scope or nature.
Thank you very much. Mr. J. Alberti, you have the next question, and it goes to Mr. Harper.
Mr. Harper, we've talked about school growth, and that comes with new children coming into the community because of the economic development we've had in our community. What role do you see the county commission playing in the economic growth in our community?
It's a great question, Jay. I think the county commission obviously can be supportive of growth. You know, one of the things that's happened, one of the reasons why we have a lot of growth here is not only the business or the economic climate here is very positive, but also we're becoming known as a great place to live in. And one of that is from retirees. I think it's very positive. I think retirees bring a lot to the community, a lot maybe that we are overlooking. As a matter of fact, when I was the chairman of the board of the Community Action Agency, one of our programs was the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. And we were filled with capacity, and as a matter of fact, in that agency, we could have used more senior volunteers, but we did not have the funding to do so. I think seniors are not utilized enough in the community, and they provide valued inspiration to the community as a whole.
Mr. Huffman.
Thank you very much for the question. As I said in my opening comments, educational opportunities with a world-class educational system, public safety, infrastructure, to roads and high-speed internet. The new transportation infrastructure is the internet. 1 gig service in Clarksville with the citizens we have that are transitioning from Fort Campbell into our population means we have well-prepared, technically advanced individuals that can open these businesses. We need an economic incubator. We get education, public safety, infrastructure right. Economic growth continues. The follow-on that we have to look at, our industrial park is beginning to fill up. We're a victim of our own success. We need to begin looking down the road at where our new industrial park will be once we filled this one up. Thank you.
And thank you. You're watching Clarksville's Political Forum. We're meeting with candidates on the ballot for County Commission number 15, Mr. Bob Huffman and Mr. David Harper. We're going to continue our questioning now, gentlemen, from Mr. Jimmy Settle, and your question will go to Mr. Huffman.
Thank you. Mr. Huffman, clearly part of being a county commissioner is being accountable to your constituents. How do you propose to stay connected with the residents of your district to increase their involvement in the planning of the county's future?
Okay, great question, Jimmy. Thank you. Accountability. I've always been accountable throughout my professional career. I'm a very connected individual. You can reach me telephonically. You can reach me via the internet. I'm constantly up and connected to email. It's how we communicate today. Public forums are another great means of speaking with people. I love meeting new people. I like learning people. Lifelong learning is a tenet that I've espoused my entire life. So yes, tell me what your concerns are so I can address those and represent you on the county commission.
Mr. Harper.
Thank you, Van. Thanks for the question. I would say as means of contact for me, telephone and email are always going to be available for me. But additionally, in this campaign, I plan to meet as many folks as I can at their doorstep. I think one of the ways I built my business is by face-to-face contact, and I'm not scared of that. As a matter of fact, one of the ways we learn about what is going on in the community is by that face-to-face contact, by that one-on-one contact. I think interpersonal meetings are very, very, it's also like to have community-wide meetings, but I think that interpersonal contact is going to be very important for me to learn what's important to District 15.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee Irwin. You have the next question. It goes to Mr. David Harper.
Mr. Harper, we've talked about issues for the county and for District 15, but name one or two quality of life issues you feel Montgomery County could do a better job of providing for its citizens.
Lee, that's a great question. Quality of life, that's very important when people are looking at a community to relocate in. As a matter of fact, when they're looking at why should we stay in this community? As a matter of fact, in District 15, there is a park. It's not fully operational yet that we do have. That's over in the Windermere area. I would say quality of life measures, we need more open spaces, but we have to be very careful about that. We have to be very careful about the properties that we allocate towards that open space. I like to ride my bicycle. One of the things that I've seen on Sango Road and Trough Springs, which is in the district, is we've seen overcrowding of two-lane roads with more traffic and more bicycle traffic. And that's certainly something that should be addressed in the quality of life considerations.
Mr. Huffman.
Quality of life issues in District 15 with the growth. Sango Road has become busier and busier. Between Sango Elementary and Mount Carmel, there are not bike paths and walking paths for our children to commute safely from their subdivisions and their homes to the schools. That's unfortunate. Other than the elementary schools, we have no park ground inside the district. Rotary Park right now is undergoing some renovations where they'll have greater walking trails and biking trails inside of that park. We need to take a look at our two elementary schools, Sango Elementary and Mount Carmel, just outside of the district, and see what we can do about park lands so we have green open space and good quality of life inside the district. Overall, I think the quality of life in Montgomery County is very positive.
Thank you very much. We have time for two more questions from our panelists. So far, we've heard about roads, education, how to keep up with the growing area in which we all live, identity, and a number of other questions as well. Two more questions. Let's take the next question, if we can, from Mr. Jay Albertia. It will go to Mr. Bob Huffman.
Mr. Huffman, right now there's a study going on that has been funded by the county, the city, the Aspire Foundation, and Nashville, talking about the relationship between Nashville and Clarksville and what that will mean to us and our community. What do you hope that you would like to see out of that, and how do we have a better relationship with our neighbor to the north?
Good question. There's no doubt that Clarksville, or Montgomery County, along with Cheatham County, are bedroom communities for Nashville. We have several citizens that live here within Montgomery County, specifically within District 15, and commute to Nashville. Now, one thing that could possibly come out of there is a strategic transportation improvement plan. If we take a look at expanding Interstate 24 between Clarksville and Nashville, that would help our community tremendously, converting that to a 6-lane interstate. Now, there are expenses that the County Commission does not directly impact. That state and federal dollars going to improve the infrastructure connecting our two communities. That would be one area that I'd like to see. I'd love to see Nashville selected as a Google 1 gig network, and then I want Clarksville, Montgomery County to have a 1 gig service, so we can also maintain that infrastructure.
Mr. Harper?
Thanks for the question. I think any morning as I pass by on my way to the office, I pass by the Sango park and ride lot, and I see a lot that's filled, usually to the brim of cars. All those vehicles there, they're going to Nashville every day to seek employment. I would look at it, the partnership between Nashville and Clarksville, as someone who grew up in Nashville and spent the majority of my adult life prior to moving to Clarksville. I think there's opportunities. There's also opportunities for us to learn from the things that Nashville's doing, to partner with them. But also, there's a real big opportunity for us. The greater economic growth that we get in the city, that means those park and ride lots there'd be less people there, and I think that would be a positive thing for the community. Keeping those residents here so their quality of life will be enhanced.
Thank you very much. Our last question from our panelists will come from Mr. Jimmy Settle, and it will go to Mr. David Harper.
Thank you. Mr. Harper, the annual Montgomery County government budgeting process for a new fiscal year is underway even as we speak. If you were sitting in that room on the 3rd floor of the courthouse today and were actually part of that decision-making process as a commissioner, as you propose to be, what would your departmental spending priorities be in this budget?
That's a great question, Jimmy. As a matter of fact, I'm probably one of the few that's actually sat in front of that panel as chairman of the board of the Community Action Agency for 2 years, and actually justifying why the county should actually fund that agency. I think priority-wise, and you've given me a really blank slate on what county department I might be representing, but typically we're going to try to do the best job we can with the dollars we have allocated. And if we're not able to do that, then perhaps there's some efficiencies that we should undertake. If that can't be solved, then obviously we'd have to ask for more funding, if that's the case, to solve the issues that we have.
Thank you. Mr. Huffman.
Priorities, as I've spoken about earlier today. Education, we have to maintain and improve so we have a world-class educational system. I think that the Clarksville-Montgomery County school system is a top-tier school system. They're oftentimes compared to Williamson County. I think that the teachers in our classroom are doing as good a job, if not better, than Williamson County is. Public safety, we have to ensure that public safety is maintained and enhanced. Infrastructure, where appropriate for the county. Now we have to stay on top of our debt service. We cannot assume additional debt. Those items are going to get us the economic growth and the economic prosperity that we want inside Montgomery County so we have full employment and good paying jobs.
Thank you very much. We have had 10 questions from our panelists answered by each of our candidates on the ballot running for County Commission District number 15. We go now to our closing comments. There will be 2 minutes each, given in reverse order from our opening comments. We will hear first from Mr. David Harper.
Thanks, Van. You sure that wasn't about 20 questions? Felt that way to me. Let me cover a couple of things that I didn't have time to do earlier in our opening comments. I wanted to give some of the constituents out there an idea of the things I've been doing in the past, just so they might get a better feel of me as a person. I'm a member of Hilldale United Methodist Church and a member of the endowment committee at the church. I'm a current member of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm a current member of the advisory board of the Better Business Bureau of Clarksville, Montgomery County. I'm a past lieutenant governor for Kiwanis District. I'm also a past president's club. I also sponsored for 3 years the Reading is Fundamental programs at Sango Elementary and East Montgomery Elementary, which happen to be the 2 schools in District 15. And I'm also was chairman of the board of the Community Action Agency for Clarksville, Montgomery County in 2010, 2011. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that I'm a Leadership Clarksville graduate in 2005. I was a past president of the Savannah Chase Homeowners Association. And as anybody who's ever served in a role like that can say, there's not much reward in it and a lot of grief. And that has prepared me, I think, for a lot of roles in the future. And also I was registered to vote in Montgomery County in August of 2000 when I moved here. So I've been a resident of the county for quite some time now. I think that's 14 years. And I would look forward to serving the district. I'm very happy, thankful, glad to be here today. I'm very happy to have met my wife of 13 years, Michelle, as she worked at a bank that was a client of mine years ago. And I'm very, very thankful to have the beautiful, beautiful daughter that we have, Gracie. I'm very, very proud of her. Nothing brings me more joy in life than having my daughter.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear closing comments from Mr. Bob Huffman.
Thank you very much, Van. Again, thank you very much to the Chamber of Commerce and the Leadership Clarksville team for putting together such a fine forum. I'm Robert Huffman. I do want your vote. I do want to serve you as a county commissioner from District 15. And when the voters elect me to the county commission, I want you to know that when I decide to do something, I do it well, no matter how difficult. I'll use all of my expertise, every connection and every tool I have will be brought to bear on this position of trust. I'll ask people for advice. I'll bring my own thoughts to consider an issue. I believe that we can combine ideas to seek the best possible answer. I'm stubborn, but I'm not so stubborn that someone cannot persuade me with a sound argument to change my thinking. Most importantly, as a lifelong learner, I'm willing to learn. I'm Bob Huffman. I'd appreciate your vote on August 7th for the Montgomery County Commission representing District 15. Thank you very much.
And I want to say thank you very much to our candidates here for County Commission District number 15, Mr. Bob Huffman and Mr. David Harper. Gentlemen, thank you for sharing your time and your thoughts with us today and for taking part in this forum. But most of all, thank you for your willingness to step forward and serve the citizens of this great community here in Montgomery County. I want to say also thank you to our panelists. I don't say thank you enough. Your insight and the way you bring these questions to the table that allows our candidates to address each one of them is truly appreciated. I want to say thank you also to Yvonne Pickering, our timekeeper for today, and most of all to you at home. Thank you for watching, because you are the ones that make our government go forward. To exercise your responsibilities and vote in the state primary and county general elections, remember August the 7th is the date of those elections. Early voting begins on July the 18th and goes through August the 2nd. You can vote at the Montgomery County Election Commission. They are located at Montgomery Veterans Plaza, 350 Pageant Lane. Now, Monday through Friday, they will be open from July the 18th to August the 2nd, from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. And then on Saturdays, they'll be open from 9 o'clock in the morning till noon. On August the 2nd, they will be open till 4 o'clock. The most important thing is that you exercise your right and your responsibility to vote for the candidate of your choice. Once again, thank you to the Mass Communications Department here at Austin Peay State University for broadcasting this event. And thanks also to your Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce and Leadership Clarksville for making this forum possible. Until next time, I'm Van Stokes saying thank you for watching.